Yeah, no, this is live actually. I'm just gonna put a little fake live thing, but thanks for joining us back to the All Angles podcast. Me and Cookie are here with somebody that the moment Cookie and I said, I want to do this, this is the person we talked about we wanted to get on. And the quick funny story of how we're both connected in the weirdest way. It was Kline, I think it was 2022.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
2022, there was a film festival in Winchester, Virginia. Winchester, a very historic town in Virginia. The downtown area of it, though done up, still has that historic charm to it. There was a film festival going on, and I was there with a friend at the time, and she's like, hey, come and watch this film. And I watched this unbelievable documentary film. Afterwards, got to meet the gentleman right here, Kevin Kline, and told him what I did. And the funny part is I just watched this unbelievably moving documentary filming, and all Kleiner wanted to do was talk about me working for the Capitals. And I told Cookie it was the weirdest thing in the world. And then fast forward a couple years after that, and I see a post, and I couldn't remember if I saw a picture or just you guys were tagged in each other's thing. And I messaged Cookie. I go, how on earth do you know Kevin Kline of all people? And he told me about how you're actually, from the area and all this other stuff. And it was you or your wife that went to jury.
This is a funny story. So let me take my side of it here, because this was funny. So we had posted, Jeremy and I had taken over at Drury University after Missouri State. And, we had nothing. Missouri State had been established. They had all their volunteers. They had all the people doing a fantastic job, great job over there. But we had nothing. And so I put word out on social media. We were looking for photographers and game night penalty box people and all this stuff. And we needed a public address announcer. And I get this message on our team page from a woman saying, well, my husband's retired and this and that. And the first thought in my head is, oh my God, this is like some 80-something-year-old dude. It's just going to be wheeled in, and we'll be lucky to get him. And then I said, well, that's great. I'd love to hear more about it. And then Kevin calls me, leaves a voicemail, and as soon as I heard the voice on the voicemail, I texted Lozzie. I said, we've got our guy. To answer your question, and Kevin could do this too, his wife Trish is a Drury alum. Yeah,
that's right. That's what it was. And it was just such a funny thing, because I was just like, of all people, because I believe I probably at one point even told Cookie about the documentary, and it was just funny to see that on there. So with us today is Kevin Kline, which comes from a humongous background in radio, probably one of the best documentaries I've seen in a long time, especially in regards to something that wasn't mainstream news and not everybody knew was happening, which makes the meaning of it even better. I was able to watch it at a film festival. Cookie, I believe, has had the privilege of seeing it in a showing. So welcome, Kevin. Like I said, we feel like we got a real celebrity here, other than me. So
other than you.
Yeah. What are we saying here?
Now, even in my radio days, I spent 30 years on the microphone and radio, and the last 16 were in a major market in Houston. And, when you do that, people think you're a celebrity because, you're on the radio and they spend so much time with you listening. I'm just a regular guy that had a really cool job, and in this documentary, you find out how just regular we are. John, you were talking earlier about how, small of a world hockey is. I would just say, that the three of us are linking up today and that we know each other through hockey. But what we're talking about, I would say the world of compassion is even smaller,
Yeah, for sure. And I would agree with the fact that we're, just regular guys, but having had the privilege of getting to know you over the last couple of years, I'm just going to have to disagree with you, sir. There's nothing regular or normal about you. You and Trish are just two of the most amazing people I've ever known in my life. So I'll just get that out of the way early on here.
But thank you so much for saying that.
I'll get the pumping the tires out of the way quickly here.
I've only heard Cookie talk like this about Taylor Swift. So
wow. Well, hopefully we can get 1.3 million downloads on this one, and then we'll be up there with the New Heights folk.
I'm hoping we get 1.3 downloads.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice.
But it's a funny thing. We started doing this thing, and we talk about it all the time about how we're having a blast doing it, and it's not about the numbers for us, but just hitting different milestones when it comes down to it. But the best part is getting to talk to people we do know, people we don't know. Even though we know the stories, we never get tired of hearing them.
Well,
But
and by the way, and we've talked about this on air, but never mentioned the person behind the story. Kevin's a big reason why we're even doing this, because the story of how this all started was I had been kind of kicking the tires on doing something along these lines for a while. And, you know, knowing Kevin's background, we had talked about it a couple times. And the last time we had a discussion about this at the brewery, it was literally 2 days later that John sends me a message, and it literally just says, "Hey, if you were going to do a podcast, what would your topic be?" I'm like, "You've got to be shitting me right now."
I didn't even put my phone down, and Cookie was already responding.
I literally just had this conversation with Kevin 2 days ago.
Well, you know,
And here's where we pin drop Nicole again, right?
John's middle name is Google. I mean, he's watching and listening all over the place. So he heard you talking about that.
I know, but yeah, you were kind of and the reason I say you're a big part of it, because you know, talking about Jeremy as well, you guys both in your own ways did similar things for me. And Jeremy and the coaching side of things, when the three of us actually, John, Jeremy, and I were coaching together down in Texas, and Jeremy kind of gave me the kick in the tail to go kind of do my thing. And part of that was going with John, but you know, going out and being a head coach myself, Jeremy kind of pushed me along and said, "Just go do it, man. Don't think about it. Just go do it." And it was a similar conversation with you, and Trish was there as well, just saying, just do it. Give it a start. If it works, great. If not, it is what it is. Go out, give it a try.
You guys know, because you're in the sport. Gretzky, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I use that almost daily in my life when I think about things I want to do or I don't want to do. If I don't want to do it, I run that filter through that quote. And if I say, you know what, I still want to do it, then I know I want to do it. And if I say, you know what, I don't care if I miss that shot, then I don't do it.
Yeah, because I mean, it's missing the shots a lot better than going, what would have happened if I took it? 'Cause you didn't.
Yeah.
That's been a big topic for us early on here in the show. This is going to be episode 18, John? Already starting to lose track. And, you know, I would say almost 25% of the shows so far have been on that kind of very thing about, you know, pursuing that goal, pursuing that dream. You know, go take the risk, and it may work, it may not, but at the same time, you might also find another pathway within that same kind of scenario. I mean, it happened with our hockey careers. My playing days ended. I needed another path. It went into coaching. John now on the photography side of things after the coaching and the playing. So it
Cookie in the coaching during the photography.
Yeah, that too.
Flip-flopping our stories there.
But let's, I want to back up a bit. And again, the big part of this, obviously, we'll get into is the foundation and the documentary and all that. But kind of a little bit of your background. I know quite a bit of it, not all of it at this point. There's clearly, you know, a sports part to this without question, including a college baseball career and with some pretty big names, by the way. But yeah, kind of a little bit of your background, how you know, the sports side of it, and then the radio side of it, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, so I played baseball for 22 consecutive years. I started T-ball when I was 3, and so all the way through college, I got my college paid for through baseball. And my dad, you know, every dad who thinks their kid's really good says you're going to be a pro. And so he grew me to be a professional athlete. And I had a teacher in 7th grade say, "We all know you're going pro," because everybody does. You know, everybody goes pro, right?
Exactly.
But she said, just in case, you know, you need a backup plan. And I didn't know anything, you know, and so I'm just kind of going through life. And first day of freshman year of high school, my alarm goes off at 5:55 in the morning. Radio DJ comes on at 6 to start his show, and he goes, "I don't want to be here today, folks. I really don't." And I'm like, holy shit. I'm going to a new school that I don't want to go to. I really don't. And I'm like, oh, I can't believe this guy just said that about his work. So I stayed in bed from 6 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock in the morning on my first day of freshman year of high school. There goes perfect attendance, because I missed my first day. And I said, you know what? That's my backup plan. I want to go into radio. And so my first year of college was at Oklahoma State University. We were preseason ranked 2nd in the country. I played with Jeremy Burnitz. I played with Dave Malicki. Robin Ventura had just gotten drafted the year before. So I'm playing with some pretty big, high-level people, high-skilled people. And I realized then and there, you can be a big fish in the state of Missouri, but when you're playing against guys from Texas, Puerto Rico, California, the writing was on the wall that my baseball career was about 4 years longer, and that was it. And so I started looking at radio a lot, and I really wanted to do it. And so I got to live my dream, man. I did 30 years on the mic. I got to be in a top 5 market in the country for 16 years. So, but baseball afforded me that. Interestingly enough, Cookie, my dad told me you'll never amount to anything when I told him I didn't want to play baseball anymore. But he was the guy that got me my first internship in radio.
Oh,
Yeah, he knew the news director at KMOX in St. Louis, and he goes, "Yeah, my son might be thinking about it." John Angelita said, "Have him come down." So I came down, and they could not get rid of me.
well, I was about to say, I got to hang out at your house a couple weeks ago with an old childhood friend of yours and her family, and there was a lot of stories told, but there's one in particular that I'd love for John to hear, and it was related to that. They couldn't get rid of you to the point where they really couldn't get rid of you and didn't have a choice but to keep you around.
Yeah, so I'm working. I worked 90 hours a week, and 50 of those were unpaid because I was an intern at a radio station. Just to pay my car payment and my insurance to drive to the radio station, I swept floors at an elementary school from 3 in the afternoon until 11 o'clock at night. And then I would go down to the radio station at 4 in the morning and stay until 2 in the afternoon and go straight to work. And I did this for 22 months, no pay. And I'm sleeping in the corner at 7 in the morning because I'd been there, since 4. And the microphone goes off, and the guy who was on air was our boss at the time, David Day, D-Day. And our general manager's walking by, light goes off, microphone's off. Dick Stein opens the door, and he goes, "Hey, how long you been here?" And I wake up, and I'm like, well, since like 4 in the morning. He goes, "No, how long have you been with us?" I'm like, "I don't know, almost 2 years." He goes, "David, are we paying him?" And D-Day goes, "No, he's still an intern." He goes, "Not anymore. If he's not getting paid tonight, he's no longer your morning show producer." So D-Day looks at me in the corner. He goes, "What are you doing at midnight tonight?" I'm like, "Sleeping." He goes, "Not anymore. Welcome to weekend overnights."
That's
That's
awesome.
that's how I started getting paid in radio. I hung around so long that they felt obligated to pay me. But you know what? And I told this Cookie. I had KT and a few of the boys over last night, and I told them, I said, "Guys, if I could go back in time and do what you guys are going to be able to do after you graduate, I would still work for free because it was the most amazing time of my life. Getting to network, getting to learn, getting to experiment and fail and not have any repercussions. I'm not costing them anything, but I learned so much because I just immersed myself in it."
Yeah, that's key. That's kind of been a theme of ours, and we use our own stories a lot to tell that, just like you are. And I can say that for myself. And John knows this as well as anybody because we've done it together. I made the conscious decision years ago to chase this dream, knowing I was never going to be a millionaire out of it. In fact, there's a lot of times where over the years and even recently, where I just kind of sit there and wonder, am I going to be able to pay the bills this month? But it's easy to look back and say, well, maybe there should have been a better decision. But I'm one of the fortunate ones to be able to do what I love. And I've quite literally been all over the country. And while it has, kind of hurt some relationships over the years, for sure, there's no question, it's also created some unbelievable relationships as well that I wouldn't give up for the world. So it's a lesson to learn to just it's as cliche can get, but don't let things get in the way of going after what it is you want to do.
Look, my dad always measured success by the number of digits that were on your paycheck. Okay. And if he were here today, I would unequivocally tell him that the richest and most rewarding thing that Trish and I have ever done has never paid us a dime. Starting the Snowdrop Foundation and running it for almost 20 years now, and being able to see the kids that we've helped go through college and put them through school and stuff.
Amazing thing.
You can't measure success in digits. You can't measure it in numbers or a paycheck. It's how you feel on the inside that's the measure.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we even talk about, how like me in particular, and Jeremy does this a lot. Like we're in touch with some of our older players, and like just seeing what they're doing now, and just being at a point, especially as a coach, like to Cookie's point, like I quit coaching because I couldn't afford. to coach anymore. I had to get back to like running gyms that I was doing at the time. And when I first started off my photography career, but when you look back and you see, it's like, okay, I did this and I put the effort into it. I can't really find a single regret I have, even through the missed bills and what happened, and just like, credit taking a huge dip, and then going through COVID, where I was, didn't get the government benefits because I was working as a freelancer, and so I didn't get into those things, but I was still pushing through and making it work. But I wouldn't, ask for a different path going through it, and I mean, and then ironically enough, all those decisions is kind of why we're all sitting here right now. And so, and Kevin, I remember listening to you talk at the film festival about your radio career and everything, and how that was kind of like a great way to just, you knew a lot of people to help kind of springboard into the foundation. And I mean, I remember you told the story, and I believe it was about one individual patient that you had that really was the fuel for the fire to get all this going. Like, tell us about your foundation, what it's for, how you got it started, and then we can get into obviously the documentary that this is surrounded by with it, which honestly it's a documentary. Just before we even get to that part, it's a documentary I've thought about so many times over the years, like just wondering when it's going to come out. And me and Cookie were talking about this the other day. There's not many movies I do not like out there. So there's a lot of movies I've seen and I'm indifferent about them. And I'm particularly close to documentary films, just because of A, what I do, but B, just being able to see a real life event unfolding. And then to watch yours, a couple other of the films I watched at the film festival, I was talking a lot through, and people were talking through, like watching your film with that whole room of people, you could hear a pin drop. And everyone was just locked into the entire thing. And it's not a short film.
It's 88 minutes. Yeah. It's almost an hour and a half. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I was just like, oh, it's already over. And, just watching it was pretty incredible. So, talk to us about where that started and where the idea came from and how it came to be.
Yeah. Well, first, all credit to the filmmakers, Jordan Orsak, Marcel Milans, and Reese Reisig. And we'll talk about those guys because there's a really cool connection with Delivering Hope, the movie, and Pediatric Cancer. So, but yeah, radio, John, introduced me to pediatric cancer. I had no idea that kids got cancer. I thought it was, an adult thing that, we got because we made bad choices or environmental choices. We live near bad areas or something. But no, man, it's just dumb luck that kids actually get it. I was in the hospital visiting somebody when a 3-day-old got diagnosed with cancer. Yeah, 3-day-old, right? It defies logic. But so we were broadcasting from Texas Children's Cancer Center on December 15th, 2005. And we're broadcasting from the infusion center. So it's where you go to get chemotherapy, outpatient chemotherapy, barring any complications. Kids come in, get their chemo, and then they go home for the day, for the weekend. Our broadcast started at 8 in the morning. The center opens, and all these bald 4, 5, 6-year-old kids rush in, congregate in the corner, start playing with themselves, and the parents are talking to each other. And then this striking teenage girl comes in. She's got straight brown hair, middle of her back, sets her coat down, and starts playing with these kids in the corner. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome that she'd be volunteering her time during her Christmas break. So I'm watching her for 4 hours or so, and at my lunch break, I introduce myself and I say the exact same thing to her that I just did to you. I just think it's phenomenal that at your young age, you would know about giving back and volunteering. She's like, I'm not a volunteer. I'm like, are you an employee? I mean, you're in your pajamas. You might not be in proper uniform. She goes, I'm not an employee either. I'm like, what are you doing here? She goes, I'm a patient. I said, you don't look sick. Honestly, guys, she goes like this. She literally waves her hand at me and goes, I'm not. I just have cancer. Chelsey Campbell was 15 years old then. This was in December. October of 2005, she was given a 10% chance to see her 16th birthday in June of the following year. She had a very rare form of cancer, only 50 cases. It's Jesus. Undifferentiated sarcoma. So she had cancerous tumors on the soft tissues of her body, spleen, liver, lung, heart, kidney, back. And she was stage 4 when they diagnosed it. So I fell in love with Chelsey because at 15, I was very suicidal. So I couldn't have cared less if I got up and went to school that day or not. And here's a girl that all she wants to do is live. and she's probably not going to. And so I'm 35 at that time, and I'm like, you selfish bastard. You had everything when she was your age. So I did a complete 180. I was living at the time to spite my dad, who told me I'd never amount to anything at the age of 13. And so I was trying to make as much money as I could to get a huge house, to get a luxury car. And by all definitions, at that time, I had reached that, you know. But I met Chelsey, and she just changed my life, man. Just completely changed my life. And so I talked to my wife that same night, December 15th, and I said, she's going to do it. She's just so defiant. She's going to beat the odds. So what can we give her that would be super special for her 16th birthday? And Trish goes, I don't know. What do you want to do? And I'm like, I want to start a foundation. I want to start a foundation, and I want to raise money for kids with cancer. And I thought it would be an extension of the radio station, because we only dedicated 3 days a year to raising money for pediatric cancer patients. And I'm like, if we could do this throughout the year, just think of what the impact could be on our broadcast at the end of the year. And they didn't want me to start the foundation. They literally said no. Yeah. I said,
I'm not surprised, to be honest with you. It's kind of crazy to see what the bigger pockets and their perception on things are. Kevin, I think you know a little bit about the docuseries I'm working on for people living with multiple sclerosis.
yes.
I've reached out to the National MS Society of US and Canada, and they flat out told me they're not interested in having anything to do with it.
But when it comes out, they'll want it.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah,
know?
for sure.
Yeah.
But it's so like knowing the radio station. I thought about that because I remember you telling the story about the radio station not wanting anything to do with it. I thought about that when I reached out to them. Like, I actually met people at the Capitol building.
Really?
When I was there with the Stanley Cup doing a thing for the NHL, and I saw a kid go by with the orange mohawk, and I was like, that's specific. And I looked and saw the MS people and talked to them, and they were like, of course, to my face, they're all like, oh, yeah. And granted, this is by no means spite against them saying they don't want to help. It's just that when it comes to the bigger picture, they're not interested unless it has an immediate impact. So the radio station, I could see, like, it sucks to hear, and a lot of people are probably like, oh my God, I can't believe it. But now, sadly, I absolutely can believe it.
The reason the radio station said no, the general manager and the program director, the reason they said no was because they figured it was going to take so much time away from my broadcasting that I wouldn't be able to serve two masters, basically. And I said, guys, I can assure you. And they said, well, we're not going to take that chance. You're under contract
This is the kid
for
that was
this.
sleeping in the corner of the hallway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I went home, all butt sore that night. And I told Trish, they're not going to let me do it. And she's like, well, I'm not under contract. I said, hell yeah.
Your wife's unreal,
I went
man.
in the next day and I said, guys, you're absolutely right. You're right. I am under contract, and this is not part of the contract. Ironically enough, Trish Kline is not under contract with CMG, and she will be starting the organization. And they're like, you're serious about this? And I'm like, I'm dead serious about this. And it took them about 2 years to come around to, they saw that I was not going to skirt my primary job that, kept the roof over my head and actually got me more contacts and networking ability. And it was really the weirdest thing. And I mean, it's not weird. I figured it would probably happen this way, but as Snowdrop proliferated throughout the Houston area, it drew more people to the radio station. So our listenership went up a little bit. I'm not taking sole credit for it, but there was a little pop,
I mean, that's outstanding PR in itself.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it all worked out. And, after 2 years, they started calling Snowdrop our organization, the radio station's organization.
Of course they did.
But yeah, I don't begrudge them for that. I mean, that's why I wanted to start it in the first place, was
Right.
to have it be an extension of the radio station. But I mean, it became bigger than what I thought it would ever become.
So give us an explanation of Snowdrop.
Well, actually, Cookie, if I can cut you off real
No,
quick.
you can't. I asked the question.
But I'm going to anyway.
No, you're-
What was what was the outcome with Chelsey?
So Chelsey and I befriended each other at the third day that we were friends. The family actually embraced me and brought me into their family and said, you're family now. I visited, Chelsey had a surgery in February of 2006. They told it was going to be about 13 hours. And so I, along with the members of the family, were up there, and the 13-hour mark comes and there's no news on Chelsey. The 15, 16, 17-hour mark, 20-hour mark, still no news on Chelsey. And I had to leave to go to work and be on the air. So I'm there on the air for 4 hours. At the 24-hour mark, there's no word on the surgery. So it was 27 hours. I was back up at the hospital. It was 27 hours that they were operating on Chelsey. They got all but 2 of her tumors, and she was in the hospital for 98 straight days. I visited her on 95 of those 98 straight days. And then she got out of the hospital, and she was home, and wasn't long after that she was put on hospice care. And 2 weeks before she died, she called and asked me down to her house, and she asked me personally if I could be a pallbearer at her funeral. And I mean, you're never going to say no to that.
Yeah.
So on the 364th day that we knew each other, I buried her. Less than 1 day, less than a year. Yeah. Yeah. It's still the most disheartening honor I've ever been bestowed upon, and she's not the only one. I've buried 3 kids, that have gotten their angel's wings, and still friends with the families. That's as tragic as it is. It's a special thing you share with those families, and so yeah, I'm grateful for all the connections that we've made, and that we were close enough to the families that they've invited us to do that. Now we've been invited to more weddings. I've actually performed 2 ceremonies on pediatric cancer survivors.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I've married 2 of them. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah,
Wow.
it's super cool, super cool. And then Chelsea's sister had a baby 4 years ago, and we're the godparents.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That'll be the next video we see on TikTok. Cookies, Kevin Kline and his wedding services, and how he's there to
Exactly.
be an efficient to help people get married.
Can you imagine the Kevin Kline radio voice doing that ceremony? Oh man.
It almost makes me want to get married again, Kleiner.
Oh, hey, I'm here
don't.
for
I'm
you.
just kidding. If that happens again, you're not working the wedding, man. You're coming to get drunk with the rest of us. So.
Only if I get that Eagles jersey.
Oh God.
Heck yeah, man. I love it. Keep it going. That black Screaming Eagle is the best jersey in the NHL.
I hate everything.
We're going to get you an Ovechkin one.
Oh, we can give me an Ovi one, huh? Wow.
Well, I mean, if we're going to get you the jersey, we're going to get you the right one.
Okay. All right. Look at how disgruntled he is right now.
This is the pinnacle of my day, Cookie.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, Chelsey Campbell was the reason that I changed my life, and Trish just jumped in head first with me, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, about having the dream and taking the risk. Everybody thanks us for doing it, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're so brave," and I'm like, all we did was we just did some paperwork, and they're like, "No, but you actually started it," and I'm like, it just felt right, just that was
The brave
huge
ones are
on
those
my
kids.
What's that?
The brave ones are those kids and those families for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. But
You-
yeah,
you, you guys did an amazing thing, but they're the brave ones for sure, and I know you would agree with that.
well, we actually have a program that was started by one of our volunteers called Bling for Bravery. And when anybody runs a race, you get a finisher's medal, and some of us collect a lot of them if we do a lot of races. And so we don't need them. And so we give them to Larry DeSpain, who now we give them to Daisy DeCarlos, and they take the ribbons off of them, give them back to the runner so they have a record of the race they ran. But we put a snowdrop ribbon, and then we take it down to the hospital and give it to the real champions.
John,
kid.
do you have any medals or ribbons from running races?
I once ran up the stairs, and that's as far as I went. So I'm
gotta-
still recovering.
I got a T-shirt from the Peachtree Road Race in Atlanta, but they didn't give me a medal.
Cookie, I was the catcher in baseball. I don't want to run.
Same here, brother.
All 3 of us were catchers.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I meant to bring that up earlier. Yeah, it's 3. No wonder we're all at. Yeah, we're fucking.
Well, great. But Kleiner just now ruins my excuse for not running, because he runs all the time.
Yeah.
And this whole damn documentary is about him
I was
running,
gonna
and I'm
say,
sitting here
he's
saying,
really
I
ruin
talked
it. Yeah. Jeez.
man, oh man.
So yeah, but
All right, John,
it's,
can I ask my question now, John?
Yeah, I wanted to get to that. 'Cause I
No,
was
you're
curious
good.
about Chelsea.
You were right.
And
not
but
gonna use
honestly,
that often.
she lives on through the foundation.
Oh yeah.
hey, like I always tell people, and I tell this to Sandy and Chief. His name's JL, but I call him Chief because he was the chief of police. I tell him, I'm like, you realize that Chelsea's been an angel since 2006, and she's been off the earth more than she was on the earth. But the impact she still has is a bigger impact than probably 90% of the population will ever have, even living. You know,
It's
just
her, her
and every
foundation.
it
Yeah.
is it's her, and Cookie. I really wish that you would have. Maybe you can come down to our event or an event that we host, because
Absolutely.
you will honestly, you will walk away from the event feeling like you're a part of a family, and it's through nothing else but the energy that Chelsey has brought to this organization. The absolute vibe of the organization is Chelsey's life. All she was about family. Never knew a stranger. Always wanted to help others. And you walk away. We have people that come back to our 55-hour race every year, and they're like, I look forward to it because, yeah, I know I'm going to hurt and I know I'm going to suffer from running and walking for 55 hours, but I feel so close to everybody here.
Mm.
You know?
55 minutes and I'm done.
But your
Ooh,
original
minutes?
question, Cookie, was what? How do we
Well,
come up with the name?
there's a reason for my question, and it's again one of the things that is so great about what you and Trish are doing in honor of Chelsey and so many others is the foundation, Snowdrop Foundation, plus the documentary. But I would say you guys quite literally thought of everything, including the name and the symbolism of the snowdrop. Can you explain that?
Yeah, and there's days that I kick myself and not call it the Chelsey Coy Campbell Foundation, but her mom said she would never allow that.
Right.
Even if you
Yeah.
proposition that to her, she would not have allowed it. Okay.
Yeah.
So we wanted to call it the We Believe Foundation because that was Chelsey's motto. We believe we're going to beat this cancer. We believe we're going to live. And we couldn't do it because we were living in Texas at the time, and the late motivational speaker Zig Ziglar has the We Believe Foundation, and so you couldn't wrest that from them. We don't have deep enough pockets, and so somebody
Zig is a great person to read his books, but listening to him is agonizing.
motivational and all the wrong reasons, huh?
Yeah, it's his voice, man.
So sorry. Yeah, somebody at the hospital said, what's your favorite flower? Well, it's the rose. And there's a breast cancer organization called the Rose. So I always like symbolism, and I never want to do anything that's void of symbolism or a real connection to pediatric cancer. So I started researching flowers and stuff, and I came across the snowdrop. Had never heard of it before. But the more I read about the flower, the more symbolic correlation I was able to make. So the snowdrop is the hardiest flower in the world. It has the strength to bloom even when ice is on the ground. Well, you meet a kid with cancer, their spirit, their will, their strength is indomitable. So there's the one. It's also the first flower to bloom in fall, signalizing a new season. Okay. Well, we are firmly believe that these kids are going to beat their cancer and, enter a new season of their own, a pediatric cancer survivor. It's the only flower in the world that comes in one color, 20 different varieties. Well, cancer comes in many different varieties, but it only has really one purpose. The color is white, and it signifies hope and purity. Well, we hope to find a cure of pediatric cancer to keep the purest form of life on the planet, and that is a child. And then there's a biblical message behind the snowdrop, is that when Jesus was crucified, Mary shed a tear, and where that tear hit the ground, up sprouted a snowdrop. And when you meet a parent who finds out that their child has been diagnosed with a potentially terminal disease, obviously the tears flow freely. So I looked at all this and I was like, you know what? It just screams to us the symbolic correlation we're able to make between the disease and the flower, that we called it Snowdrop. And we presented it to the people that were involved with the organization at the time, and had one person say, it's brilliant because it's got great symbolism and great correlation, but it's also a great conversation starter.
It
With
is.
Snowdrop, So yeah, so that's what that's how it became.
That's great. That's amazing. Yeah, it's like I said, you guys, kind of hit on everything. You don't miss a beat with all the events you do and all that, and including just the name itself. It's in the logo, the symbolism there, and everything. It's amazing. Yeah.
Well, I mentioned the 55-hour race and relay that we do. We always do it on December 30th, and it ends on January 1st, and that's designed because, just because you have 1 year beat doesn't mean you're not looking at another year staring you in the face. And so we carry that over to the year. But 55 hours is an atypical time limit for an ultra endurance race. They're usually 6, 12, 24, 48, 72, or 144. 55, though, has a direct correlation to Chelsey and Snowdrop. Chelsey had that 27-hour surgery. So there's 2 surgeons, one primary and one assistant, who each did 27 consecutive hours on Chelsey, and then for one patient. So 27 times 2 is 54, plus 1 is 55.
That's everything's there. I mean, and it just fits. And once again, it's just Chelsey living through everything, and that's and that's amazing. And then it just obviously turned into your foundation that's still around and still going great, and we'll be sure to put all the information in for this one. And then and then we just really turned into this documentary.
Now, well, here's something really cool. It's cool yet sad in the same respect. When we gave away our first college scholarships in 2006, we gave away 3 scholarships, $3,000 each. This past 2 weeks ago, we were in Houston, and we had our scholarship banquet, and we gave away 143 college scholarships.
Wow.
Almost $270,000. Now, the great part is that we're able to cover that in, $270,000. The bad part is that's 140 students that, 140 more students than we had 19 years ago. The need is still out there, that the research needs to still be done. And, the 90% of these kids are going into some field where they're going to give back. It's crazy. It's amazing.
That's key. The last thing from my end, before we get to the documentary side of it, you mentioned the scholarships. So where does the money go? Obviously the scholarships we've discussed, and I know this because we've talked about it, but it also goes into research. How does that work? Is it directly to the hospital? Is it how does that process work, and where is it all kind of distributed?
Okay, so we have the Houston is the home office, but we also have a chapter in Appleton, Wisconsin, and so all their funds. That interesting way that came about. If you'd like to know, I would.
Sure.
Okay,
John coached in Wisconsin.
Yeah. But
everywhere, everything just keeps tying back together.
Never ends.
So
Nicole.
Wisconsin, the Wisconsin chapter, their funds go to Milwaukee Children's Hospital for research, and they also give college scholarships. Our research dollars go to one particular researcher, Dr. Nino Renuso at Texas Children's Cancer Center, and he is doing a really large study on sarcomas, which tumors, and he's trying to make a correlation between osteosarcoma and undifferentiated, which actually took Chelsey from us. So he's trying to do bone cancer with soft tissue cancer and trying to figure out correlations and stuff. So we've been funding him since probably 2007. So a while ago. But after I ran across Texas, I was asked to be an ambassador for the San Francisco Marathon. And as such, they brought 6 different athletes from 6 different runners from all parts of the U.S. And we were given a stipend to either use for ourselves or get teammates to come out with us. Here was the caveat. If they gave you the money, you had to come out and you had to run the San Francisco Marathon at midnight in reverse and get there at the starting line by 5 a.m. so that you could run it with all the rest of the runners. Okay. But Cookie was amazing because we got to run over the Golden Gate Bridge, at like 1, 2 in the morning. And then we got to go through the Haight-Ashbury district at 2:30 in the morning when it's all closing down and everything. It was unbelievable. It was so cool. So I brought a team out. I gave 5 guys, 5 each gave them $1,000 to help cover their expenses to get out there. And then we were part of a roundtable discussion. And one of the kids, one of the ambassadors that was running for a different organization, came up to me after my presentation and he said, "How do I get involved with Snowdrop?" He goes, "I'm running for a different organization, but your cause speaks to me." And so Brian Grunder started the Appleton, Wisconsin Snowdrop Foundation organization. Yeah. So that's how that came about.
Very cool. Well, we talked running. It's only fair. we get right into the big one that's coming out officially September 1st.
Yeah. So, but as we were talking, all 3 of us were catchers in baseball, and catchers don't really run a whole hell of a lot. I was also a goalkeeper in soccer. We don't run a whole hell of a lot. So what would get me to run? Well, they called Chelsey's 27-hour surgery marathon surgery. And I was the 4th or 5th person to see her in ICU. And I said, "For you, honey, I'm going to run a marathon." And I ran a marathon. My very first marathon was January 14th, 2007, and ran it with broken legs. I overtrained. I didn't have any coaching, and so I had fractured shins. But after what I saw Chelsey have to go through, there was no way I was not going to run that race. And it's still
Fractured
it's still
shins just really seem like such a cheap cop out compared to what you just witnessed, huh?
exactly.
I mean, if you really, I mean, you think about it, like anytime, you think about it, like professional sports team bring these kids around when Make-A-Wish Foundation does a bunch of big things. Like we talked to a guy last episode who plays in this Wish Cup tournament in Nashville, and it's all about the raising money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation not for the foundation, but for the kids to be able to do their things. And it's just like you see them, and it's really puts a lot into perspective. And when you see what these kids are going through and what their families are going through, and it's kind of like what you said. Like you just saw Chelsey go through a marathon surgery to not even remove everything. Broken shins, broken legs.
But I had a parent a long time ago. Their son beat cancer twice, and I actually his brother was one of the wedding ceremonies that I officiated, and I asked Laura, I'm like, man, Corey beating cancer twice, and nothing has to phase you, right? And she goes, oh no, she goes, I still cuss when the garage door opener won't work. I'm like, that's funny. I'm like, that's hilarious. She goes, no, you have to hang on to shit like that to make it, to keep a reality, to keep yourself from going
life
nuts.
is still happening.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it would be torture if every time something little happened, you're like, oh, well, blah, blah.
Oh,
This happened. Like, it's just a garage door opener. Like, I could see that. I would snap it in half.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, but it's still the fastest marathon I've ever run, 3:44. So I kept running marathons because I wore a shirt that day that said, I'm running for Chelsey. And 32 strangers said Chelsey's name that day, whether it was do it for Chelsey, Chelsey's proud, go Chelsey. And I told Trish that that's how we were going to keep Chelsey alive. I was going to continue running marathons. And so I kept running marathon after marathon after marathon. And initially it was just to show kind of the pain that these kids go through. And as you progress in your knowledge of the sport and your training of the sport and just the practice, that becomes less and less of a story because you get stronger and stronger. So I had to figure out what I wanted to do to continue to tell the story of suffering and all that stuff. So we chose to run across Texas, 13 days, 432 miles. So a marathon and a half a day.
What time of year? This is an important question for moving forward here. What time of year did you do that one?
That was December 20th through January 1st.
Okay, so you did that one in the winter across Texas.
A lot of that.
Move. Not so smart what we're about to get to, but smart move.
A lot of that, Cookie, was because that was the longest time that I had, because I was working in radio at the time. That was the longest time that I had off any time of the year. And I knew it was going to take me a long time to do that run. But we raised about $200,000 with that. And, introduced Chelsey and Snowdrop Foundation to a lot of other people that normally wouldn't know about her or it. But it kind of got me fired up to do a run that I always dreamt of doing when I became a runner. And we thought we were going to do it. When we did it, we would do it in June because the weather, and it's also the run would be under 24 hours of sunlight then. Because what I wanted to do was I wanted to take a backpack full of pediatric cancer kids' names, those who are currently fighting, those who had fought and won, and those who got their angel's wings. I wanted to take a backpack full of them and run them on the Dalton Highway in Alaska, starting at the Arctic Ocean or the Arctic Circle sign and running 304 miles north to the Arctic Ocean. And, it was something that we thought about for a little while, and then, time gets going and you stop thinking about it, and then all of a sudden you got a 50th birthday coming up, and you're like, what if we did this for the 50th birthday dream run, Trish? And she's like, what, Alaska? I'm like, yeah. And she goes, that's in the winter. I'm like, yeah, think about it. I'm like, think about it. If we're doing something for symbolism or real correlation to pediatric cancer patients, winter makes a whole hell of a lot more sense than summer. In summer, it just becomes a 304-mile run over 9 days, and it's 65, 70 degrees, and it's 24 hours of sunlight. The only hardship is that,
The grizzly bears.
Yeah, maybe so. But really, the only hardship is that you're, combating the boredom of running for, 40 miles a day for 9 straight days. I said, but think about this. In the winter, Now you got all these elements that are going to play into it. Okay. You've got the
Yeah.
hostility of the environment. All right. You've got, the cold, the wind, just the barren area that you're going to be in. Well, think about the hostility of chemotherapy. All right. It burns the insides of patients. It burns the outsides of patients, kills everything it comes in contact with. I'm like, so you got a little symbolism right there. Okay. Number two, we are in the most isolated stretch of highway in North America. 238 of the 304 miles we ran is isolated. There's no gas station. There's no cell phones at reception. There's no restaurant. There's no hotel. There's no hospital. There's nothing. Okay. Well, when a kid gets their first chemo treatment, depletes their immune system. At best, they're confined to their house. At worst, they're confined to the hospital for anywhere from 3 to 5 days, or maybe even longer. Okay. That's isolation. I said, you got that. Then I said, you've got the possibility of avalanches, maybe a bear, maybe a moose. I said, you know what? There's really no guarantee we're going to come back. And we hope to. But, if you're going to truly tell the story of what it's like to be a pediatric cancer patient, although we are winning in a lot of cases now, there still is an element of death. And so we had to throw that in there as well. But the overriding theme and the real reason I wanted to do it was because I wanted to take those kids, because if you've ever seen a kid beat their cancer, they ring that bell at the end of treatment. Their doctors, their family, their nurses, their friends, their brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, they feel like they're on top of the world. And so I wanted to take this backpack and run it to the edge of the Arctic Ocean where you can't go any further on
Pretty
foot.
much the top of the world.
We went to the highest spot in North America that you can go on foot. Barrow, Alaska is a little bit further north. Can't get there on foot. It's an island. You got to take them. We had to fly into it. So we took the kids to the virtual top of the world, and we called it Delivering Hope because we were delivering the hope that as we did something that was improbable and told us impossible, so too can these kids do the improbable, quote, impossible, by beating their cancer diagnosis. And so we ended at the post office in Dead Horse, Alaska. We set the backpack down right in front of the post office door in Dead Horse, Alaska. We delivered that hope. And in the USPS delivers the goods.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Sorry, Craig. Yeah, it's pretty incredible because, I mean, again, we've both seen it. We both saw. This isn't something you're just, I'm going to go run it, and you think your normal training is going to fix it. And I remember the training regiments and the stuff you were doing to get prepared for it. I remember the frustrations you were having because without giving too much, I want everyone to see it. But I remember you're having issues with things just not working right. And then just the training for something like this. And it's like, even with, and you're training from Houston.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
at the time you're training in almost the most
100-degree weather.
opposite of environment.
Yeah.
And the thing about it too is not even so much like the training and all that, which is everyone knows the training is going to be hard. I just remember watching, and when you're running up the highway, the only thing lit up are the reflections of the markers, so you know where the road ended, so you didn't end up in a huge snowdrift. And it's just like, especially when the car's behind you and the guys are filming, it's you in pitch black.
Yeah.
Like you have your little flashlight on top of your head. When it's snowing out, that doesn't do shit.
Nope.
And you're just out there running. And speaking of the crew, and I know you brought them up, like those guys are
Unbelievable.
True cinematographers and documentarians. I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, oh man, they're using these unbelievable red cameras and all the nice stuff. But you could put a red camera in my hand, I'm not gonna be able to get that kind of stuff. It's not, as a photographer, we already fight that. It's not the gear thing, but
just the whole team. I mean, not just the cinematographers, but your medical guy, your driver, who was epic. And I'm not giving everything away, but towards the end of the film that was one of the most special moments.
Yep. Yeah, that was. I know exactly what you're talking about in that part, and
I'm with you. I don't want to give much away. Everybody needs to see this. As we kind of hinted at, it's going to come out for public consumption on September 1st, which is amazing. But it's one of those things where I've told you this. I think I might have even told you that day. I've told anybody I can get to about it. I mean, I was in tears 2 minutes into the thing, much less 88 minutes into it. It's just that important, that special. It's so good.
I had a little hand in the post-production editing, and so I've probably before it even was that we even screened it the first time, I'd probably seen that thing 100 times. And now I've seen it probably close to 200. And there's a different spot every single time I see that film. There's a different spot that hits me. You
Yeah.
know, I'll cry at a different spot.
There were quite a few for me, I can tell you that. Without
Yeah.
shame, there was a lot of them.
But
There's been a couple in this conversation where I was fighting it off.
Exactly.
You watch this back when we air it, man. You're gonna be like, oh, there it is.
no, but the Jordan Orsak was the director and the primary editor, but our primary cinematographer was Marcel Melanson. And Marcel was brought on for two reasons. Number one, he has previous cold weather filming experience. So he filmed in Fairbanks, Alaska. Some lady contacted him, knew he had documentary film ability, and her 92-year-old mother was getting ready to die of some, I guess, maybe it was even cancer, I don't know. But this 40-something-year-old lady called Marcel and said, I just want you to make a 30-minute documentary of her taking her final sled dog ride before she dies.
Oh, man, that's amazing.
And so he did, you know, and they made the movie, and it won a couple of film festival awards. And so that's one of the reasons why Jordan reached out to Marcel, because he had that previous experience. But the other reason, and the more important reason, is because Marcel's son was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 10.
Yeah.
And he beat it. You know, he's in college now, but he had the connection to the message, you know. And yeah, so Marcel came on, and then our photographer Reese Reisig, he's a badass vertical rock climber. But his photography is really cool. And John, you know all about photography. They got some really cool footage of time lapse, northern lights with shooting stars going through it.
Mhm.
And, just crazy cool stuff. You know that he was the only one that was able to capture it.
There was a post, I want to say 2-3 days ago, you guys made, which showing some photos from running in the snow and everything. My first thought was like, I would have done anything to be a photographer on that. And it's funny too, because everyone's like, oh, the cold. Me and Cookie, we argue that all the time. We're like, throw us into the cold.
I hate heat.
Oh yeah, not a heat. Which is funny. 3 baseball guys that don't like heat.
That's why we were catchers in 100-degree weather. No, thank you.
Yeah, like I always tell Trish, because Trish is she's a cold weather hater. Okay, anything below 70 and she is not happy. But like I always tell her, you can dress for the cold. You can't dress for the heat. There are laws.
This is what I said this on the
conversation
show.
we had.
I said this on the show the other day. I think I said it the other night at your house when I was there. I can always put more clothes on.
Yeah.
There's only so much I can take off before people are offended. And with me, it doesn't take much.
With me, that's my gloves.
Even then, you're still going to be hot.
But
like today, as you're very aware.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's like 90. It's 90 something here today.
Sure, we hit. I think if we didn't hit 100 today, we came about a degree away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wicked out there. And that's the thing. It's like even working in that, like even on equipment, my camera stuff works great in the cold. It's fine. I have a couple cameras that overheat. If you're in the heat too much with stuff like that, and it's not a fun way to work in it. But
that's why I asked the question about the run across Texas, what time of year? Because you did the extreme in Alaska. You didn't quite do the extreme and running across Texas. And
no,
he'd be dead. He'd be tarantula food right now.
But you know, John, extreme heat and extreme cold drains batteries just as fast as one does the other. You know, and so that was one of the challenges for our filmmakers was how do we get our batteries warm enough so that they don't crap out at an important time? You know, so yeah, they really had a deft line to dance.
Just the logistics of that whole thing. I mean, put aside, obviously the symbolism, the run itself, just the pure logistics of that deal, I just mind-numbing to me.
Well, the pure logistics, that all came down to my friend Brian Anderson, who was our crew chief. Brian was the second person that found out about the run, obviously Trish being the first, because if she says no, you're not doing it, then, and all Trish said was, how are you going to train? You know? So, I mean, when I told her about the run across Texas, she goes, when are you going to train? And then it was, how are you going to train for this? And she was ironically the one who found the freezer to put in our garage that we put our treadmill in and got it down to -20, and I'd run in there for 2 hours.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, no, I mean, we can give that to you as a spoiler alert. It's actually really cool just to watch the transformation.
It's
you know?
very cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, just,
You know, I was talking about the training. I remember like even one of the units you had, like something was like it was the wrong one, and you had to wait longer, and there's a lot of delays in your training, and like I'm watching it, I'm sitting there in a really nice. I think it was like
I know the outcome because I know you, and I'm stressed as hell watching the thing, going, "It's not going to work."
well, yeah, the outcome. He's sitting right here,
I know, right there.
but like that's the funny part. I'm sitting in that
It's not
little.
working. It's not working. Oh, shit, wait, it did work. Wait.
Yeah, yeah. But that's the funny part. Is like I watched this movie sitting in a cafe with Kevin 20 feet from me, and I'm just like, did he do it? Like, what are we watching a documentary on if he didn't do it?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was funny because it was that coffee shop place. It was that like coffee. I think it was like a coffee shop
it was a
place
coffee
there.
shop. Yep.
My coffee sat on the floor, didn't get a sip out of it. I didn't even move. I just couldn't like get my attention off of it. And like Cookie, I don't know if you've ever been. I'm pretty sure you've been to a film festival before. When you're watching a film festival or you're watching a film at a place like that, there's so many distractions, and it's easy to lose. Like it was just like complete focus on it, and there's some good films that weekend. But that one is the one that just absolutely stuck out.
Hey, I watched it surrounded by a bunch of college hockey players that on any other normal day would have been, looking at their phones and doing anything else, and they were focused. They were in it. Yeah.
There you go. You get the attention of college kids. Your guys did something right on that one.
Brian, my crew chief, he is a physicist, and he worked for NASA, so he was involved with the manned missions to Mars and the Moon. And I told him when I asked him to crew chief for me for this, I said, "Look, dude, you can get people to the Mars and Moon. You certainly could get me to the Arctic Ocean and back."
Yeah, this is a breeze for you.
Yeah,
Still not a breeze.
No, it really wasn't.
It's such an insane thing.
So yeah, it was the coldest temperature that we ran in was -40. And so we're getting ready to go out. It's 2 a.m. We're getting ready to go out, get in the vehicle, and drive out to where we need to start. And we had the TV on, and they had a local meteorologist on that said, it's going to be -40 today, so limit your outdoor exposure to no more than 15 minutes. I turn to look at Brian, and I'm like, he said 15 hours, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we were out there for 11 hours that day.
I mean, in good weather. So you ran 40 miles a day was your thing.
Yeah, well, that was the average that we ended up averaging. I ended up averaging a marathon a day for 9 straight days.
Okay, which is how long?
26.2.
26.2.
Yeah.
How long? And you said your best time was 3 hours 44 minutes in a marathon, right?
Yeah, for a race. Yeah.
Yeah. So how long running in this snow? I mean, going even just the 26.2 miles. Like how long would that take you?
Just the 26.2.
Our fastest day was total of 7 hours and 10 minutes. Our fastest day.
Wow.
Yeah, longest day was 13 hours.
That's amazing.
Yeah, considering that's actually not as long as I was predicting.
I mean,
Our
this
longest
is the
day was
Ice Road
13.
Checkers Road, man. Like,
Yeah, it's the 10th most dangerous road in the world because of the isolation. But yeah, we were sharing it with about 70 trucks a day going 70 miles an hour on a road made of ice.
It's the 10th most dangerous road in North America or in the world.
In the world.
In the world.
The
for
most dangerous road in North America.
Drivers.
yeah. And you're like, let me put some boots on and go for a run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
No,
again,
I wore regular running shoes, and we just took hex screws and screwed them onto the outside of the shoes.
Like
I never
Zamboni
slipped once.
tires.
Yeah, like snow tires. I never slipped once.
yeah, I mean, it's but still the whole symbolism behind it, why you chose that road, it makes all the sense in the world. And like, I can't wait for this to come out in now just a couple weeks to finally come out on streaming services. Until Cookie told me what you were doing to get it on there, I didn't even realize like the formatting differences and stuff like that that you have to do for all that. But I get it. I mean, you're trying to stream it through somewhere that houses thousands and thousands of shows and movies and things like that. I mean, I'm sure they have to have a way to make it work and keep it high quality. But just to be able to do this and to be able to accomplish that kind of feat and deliver it, I mean, what's been for the people that know it happened, obviously outside of the movie, what's the response been?
The response has been overwhelmingly positive. And to what Cookie said earlier, I was nervous about the boys watching the movie because, they're college guys, they're college athletes. What could possibly, enamor them in this
Hold
movie?
their interest for an hour and a half. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I had at least, Layden, KT, Brew, at least 5 or 6 of them come up to me afterward and say, how can we get more involved with Snowdrop? And that just speaks so much about what you and Lossie do with the boys, but it just, you know, how big of an impact the movie could have, you know? And, so yeah, and John, what you said to me after the movie, you know, that how much you loved it, and, you know, all the praise you've heaped on it over the years, just, you know, it's overwhelming to me how inspirational it's been to some people. You know, it really is.
One of the things we talked about, John, remind me, it was last week, the week before, that it's when you find that moment. I mentioned my moment when I was working for the Cowboys. John had a huge moment last year with his photograph when Ovi broke the record. Finishing the documentary, but now especially September 1st, when everybody gets to see it, is a big moment. Where I'm going with this is, now one of the things we talked about is, once you find that moment, what's the next one? Keep looking for that next moment. Don't be satisfied. So what's next? Like, what's the next moment for Snowdrop, for Kevin Kline, for Trish Kline? What's happening next?
Well, the next moment for Snowdrop is obviously that we're going to celebrate on June 16th or June 14th next year. We will be 20 years old, and I never thought we would make 20 years. I never did, you know. And we're approaching 7 million donated, not 7 million raised, 7 million donated.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, well, you know, it's just when you're around,
unbelievable. It's not unbelievable. It's amazing.
When you're around Snowdrop, you'll find out that it is just an extension of what Chelsey was all about, but it's the passion that our volunteers and our supporters have for the organization. It's just crazy, you know.
What are you going to do for a 20-year celebration on it? Like, what are you guys thinking?
We don't know. We're talking about it. We don't know yet, but you know, that's the beauty of having a little bit of time. Do what?
Run across Africa or Siberia or something.
Well, I've got ideas of runs that I want to do. I don't. Here's the thing: you can have ideas all day long, but if you don't have the desire to want to train or do it, it just is an idea. And knowing what I had to do to train for Delivering Hope, you know, I've got the time. I just don't know if I've got the heart. And I got to be honest with myself about that, you know, because what I did in Delivering Hope, what we did in Delivering Hope, it would be just a jumping off point for what my next idea would be, you know. And, you know, if Delivering Hope didn't turn out the way it did, or it did turn out the way it did, I don't know if I could even pull off the next one.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, and not to mention, I mean, something like this, somebody could be watching this that could be going through something in a different realm of health for people, and say, well, he did this. And then, I mean, I wouldn't assume anything other than you'd be the person they contact and say, hey, we want to do something big. We want to do something that has meaning and something that will touch people all over the place in regards to how we can bring awareness or attention or even money raised towards these different kind of things. I mean, who else but to go to a person who went to an extreme length basically to represent a symbol of what you were trying to do for these kids. And, you know, like, you always see them. You see the cancer runs and the 5Ks and things like that. You don't see somebody doing something solo to make such a worldwide impact on something. And hopefully that makes other people say, I don't need to just write a check to some foundation where I really don't know where the money goes. I'd rather do something that has a direct impact and something that will also greatly impact me.
Well, still
to make it
write
happen.
the check, though. Still write that check.
Well,
right, but I'm talking about, like, you know, you hear these things in the controversies about some of these bigger organizations.
Yeah.
Without saying any of their names, I know I've expressed some of my things you hear about them and stuff like that. But, you know, the thing is like, Pediatric Cancer and the Snowdrop Foundation has done an amazing job. Everything they're doing, definitely write the checks to something like that. But Kevin doing this documentary, I can't imagine when this thing gets out, it doesn't just open the floodgates again, because it's impossible. And that's the hope and that's the goal, not for the foundation, but for the kids.
Exactly.
And you don't know what somebody else is going through. There's a lot of different illnesses that are out there. There's illnesses that have been around for a long time that still really don't have an answer. So these just drive the attention, and these just drive people to say, all right, I got to get my shit together. And we need to start really trying to find a cure for all this.
Well,
and
I was born in 1969, and in 1969, any cancer had a 10% survival chance. Okay. Now, almost 56 years later, a kid gets diagnosed with ALL, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Doctor comes in and says, hey, bad news, you got leukemia. Good news, 95% cure rate.
That's amazing.
56 years, dude, 95% cure rate.
That's amazing.
Pretty fucking
I mean,
huge,
look at
right?
the advancements in technology to make that happen, and the advancements in research to find out a way to make that happen. And that comes from things like this.
It's all about awareness. It's all about awareness, you know. In the end credits of Delivering Hope, they talked to one of the pediatric cancer survivors who got a scholarship from Snowdrop, and I think the question was, you know, what does Kevin's feats mean to you? And he's like, people write checks all the time, and that's awesome. He said, but he goes out and lives what we went through. You know, he goes, he's crazy for doing it, but he really is one of our frontline fighters. You know, that's basically what he was saying. And, you know, and that feels so good, man.
I think that just that's the biggest impact of it. Like I said, anybody can go out and cut a check, and that's great. Like, if you want to help cut a check, great. But the fact that you said, I'm going to live what they live and feel a lot of what they feel. And at the end of the day, and I'm sure you would even agree, it's like at the end of the day, doing all that, it's just a fraction.
Well, it's not even close.
Yeah,
No, it's not even close.
Of what they go through, but the effort and the idea of it probably means more to these people. And look how close you are with Chelsey's family because of it. And that's the impact. That's the kind of thing I think that people need to see, because, you know, a lot of these, and again, I never would downplay anybody donating to any of these foundations.
No, absolutely not.
You get a lot of people doing things like, well, I could have checked to this. Like, it's almost sometimes self-serving. It all helps in the end, but at the same time, like, to see somebody take that step forward and say, I'm going to do this. And you know what I mean? It's a pretty unbelievable thing. And the film itself was, I can't, there's not enough times I can say how incredible it is. And I think me and Cookie, it's funny, before this podcast started, me and Cookie been doing an unofficial podcast for years now, because any conversation just is very long-winded.
2-hour phone calls.
Yeah. But I mean, one of them was literally 2 hours just about the film.
Yeah.
Wow.
After I got to see it. Yeah.
After he got to see it, and like, he goes, hey, you saw this? I think he kind of forgot I saw it, and he's like, you saw this already, right? I was like, yeah, it's unbelievable. And he's like, we're gonna do a showing to the team, and I can't remember what time of year it was. I know the team was still
Right
there.
before Nationals.
Right before Nationals.
Yeah, I think I even said I wanted to come out for it, but I'm pretty sure we had games, and obviously we were getting close to the OV feet, and so I wasn't going anywhere. But I was so excited that Cliff was gonna get to see it. And because I know Cliff too is like, me and Cliff will joke. We love to pretend we're tough, but
I'm a big softie.
Yep. And so, and you know what though? That's the great
Even
thing.
if you are big and tough, I guarantee you this one's gonna get you.
Yeah, honestly, it's such a tremendous documentary. And how many different film festivals have you put this in so far? I know you were doing quite the circuit.
Yeah, we were in 140, officially in 140, and we won 50 awards.
I didn't even know there were 140 film festivals.
Oh my
Much less
God,
50.
buddy, there's over 1,000.
There's a lot of them, and a lot of them are pretty solid. And the Winchester one, I think the guy sold it, and it was and started by somebody else, and you don't really hear anything about it anymore, which is sad, because I really enjoyed it, especially in that setting.
Yeah, it was really intimate, yeah. But they did a great job with the sound system and the screen there. It was really cool. That's
what I'm saying. Yeah, everything was great there. And then, like I said, now it's not the same guy running it anymore, and you just don't even hear about it in the first place. Which things? There you go, Kleiner. Maybe we should just take it over. It's Winchester, so we get to spend time in Winchester on top of it. So.
Any film festival is a labor of love. It's a labor of passion, you know. And if you don't have the passion for it, get out, because you're not doing any justice to the film festival or the films that are trying to get in. So, you know, and people asked, you know, when you're making this film, who's this film for? Who's going to want to see this? And I said, well, maybe runners might want to see it. Probably people who have a connection to pediatric cancer will probably want to see it. I said, but it's really a film for everybody, because where we were, not a lot of people go. And to see the scenery that we saw, and you really do feel the elements, even though you're not there, you'll feel them in the seat. You know, it's for everybody.
Yeah. It's quite the thing. I mean, like you said, the scenery of it, and then even I don't know if you came to the movie theater afterwards, where they did their little after party thing that night. They did a thing at the movie theater there. I believe you came up to that. But there was a few different groups of people. There was a documentary about guys following like amateur race car drivers. They do their thing. And then there's another one, the science guys. I think their film was right before yours in that same thing where they did the cool like CGI stuff. It was really funny. They're all talking about your documentary. And like the guys stayed there for that, and then the race car guys, I guess, stopped in for a little bit and said one guy was like, "Yeah, he had to kind of pull me out of the place because we were going to a different spot." But you know, to go up there afterwards and they're like, "Did you guys see the runner documentary thing?" Because they didn't really know what it was called, they didn't remember. And I was like, "Yeah, like we were there, we watched the whole damn thing. Like that's why we're late getting to here." And that's just the thing is, you know, the support of it and the immediate latch to it people have. I can't imagine this thing getting on and people not just really jumping on it and really wanting to watch us, because it's not a seasonal thing. Children's cancer is not a seasonal thing.
No.
It's a every damn day thing, unfortunately. And hopefully it stays on everybody's home screens. Hopefully it does a lot, and even more so, hopefully it draws people to the foundation, because it's an amazing thing you guys are doing. And
I can't thank you guys enough for promoting it and for just being my good friends.
We don't really like you that much. We just think Trish is great.
No, that's right. Believe me.
That's very, very not true.
It's not actually. I'll be honest with you. I told Cookie, I'm like, I don't know if I even really got to meet Trish, and if I did it, I think it was just for a brief minute.
Trish is amazing,
and that's all it is. She's awesome.
Trish is having a very good day today. Her Canadian child is in town.
Oh my gosh, she's already seen him twice.
Oh, jeez.
She's already seen it. Yeah, she's already seen. No, you did meet Trish, John, and it was one of those things where Trish, this is John. John, this is Trish. Hi, and then Trish goes to where she's most comfortable in the back.
Well, you know what's funny?
She does not like spotlight.
It was actually, if I recall, it was afterwards, and that's when you were talking about. I was like, he does the pictures for the Capitals. I'm like, I just watched your film, man. Don't talk about me.
So we keep talking. We've brought it up a few times. September 1st. Where can people find it?
Let's see. So we are going to be. It's on Google TV, which I believe is also YouTube. It is on Amazon. Where you'll be able to get it on Amazon, and I want to say it's on Tubi. Tubi, and then I think there's other couple of lesser known channels, but yeah, I can send you guys all the links of where it's going to be, and get it out there and all that kind of stuff. But yeah,
we'll have all the links in the description of people where you can find it. Obviously, the links to the foundation, to your socials as well, which is a great place to follow those things, and hopefully, I know with Netflix and Hulu, you're not allowed to solicit to them. My next hope on the film is that it does so well on YouTube and Prime that they're like, we have to pick this up.
That would be cool.
It would be awesome, and I'll be pissed if it doesn't, because there's a lot of shit on Netflix right now as far as documentaries go. Netflix, I love you. I have a documentary coming out in the next couple of years.
John never ceases to put his foot in his mouth on a regular basis.
I've never had a working sensor, man. Like,
you still don't.
No, that's what it never does. But hopefully that spiciness is the lure. But
well, again, let me say this real quick. Thank you again, Kevin, for giving the push, because we might not be doing this podcast right now if you hadn't given the push. But also, so we're up to 2 days a week now.
I know.
We're doing the Tuesday non-sports show, the Friday sports show. I told John, like, this one really could have gone either way, but it will be the Tuesday show. And, now we just got to figure out what day of the week we're going to do the bourbon show.
Oh, buddy.
Well, so let me tell you, I was telling Cookie, once hockey season starts, I'll be traveling for my doc filming, but I am also going to come out. I'm trying to find a weekend to come out there where there's home games.
Yeah.
I would love to just come in and shoot the team and get some video and do some fun stuff that weekend for no other reason other than it would just be fun to do. But
now you
have to give me my jersey.
And I gotta bring Kleiner a Screaming Eagle jersey.
Let's be honest, you just want to come because I think I sent you a picture of the gargoyle at Kevin's house, his little man cave.
This jerk sends me a picture. He goes, "Be jealous."
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I sent him a lot of words I shouldn't say on YouTube. So,
like, we haven't said those already.
Yeah, I know. No.
Cookie hasn't seen the latest editions because it was just Friday this past week, I'm doing a commercial shoot for a online liquor place, and they sent me but they sent me a bottle. I'm highlighting just one particular bottle, but a local liquor store.
Actual whiskey in it.
There is.
I have to.
There is. Yeah.
Yeah. Slight inside joke there.
But
Yeah.
one of the local liquor stores went out of business. They got bought out, and so they had a 30% off sale, everything in the store. And so, Trish goes, "How much did you save?" And then I'll just calculate.
You didn't message me that was going on. I could have gone too.
Oh,
That's funny.
I went on the last day. I found out on the last day. Yeah. So, but I've got a couple of good ones for you, bud. Don't worry.
You guys keep going. Someone just knocked at my door.
And you're
That's
going to
the
answer?
Fed finally coming for you.
Talks to yeah, right.
It's
FBI.
Netflix.
It's the feds coming for John after his comments from 2 weeks ago. And our show a couple weeks ago where we talked about DC police being taken over by the feds.
And he had some thoughts, did he?
He did. We didn't go too crazy because we've made it a point not to be political on here, although there's certain times you just can't avoid it. Frankly, including this conversation, because we brought up the funding and all that, and I just want to say, don't stop the funding, people.
No.
Don't stop funding.
Yeah, no, that's the only way. That's in the first documentary about my Texas run, we interviewed one of the doctors at Texas Children's, and she says, the only way we make strides is by funding. We have to have the funding to continue the research. So
yeah, unfortunately, there's quite a few people in positions of power right now that are trying to take all that away and fight the power, keep the funding in place.
So what would you say to, there's a lot of other things out there, and I'm, again, not saying names because there's accusations all the times to other foundations and stuff like that. What are some good ways people can research when going into a foundation to say, hey, is this the right place to donate? Because there's controversies around other ones that have to do with women's cancer, breast cancer awareness month, and stuff like that. And it's at first they all seem like these great things. Then there's different controversies that come out. And granted, anything that becomes big, there's going to be some group of assholes that has something to say. Where's a good way, and you're being a part of this foundation that's going so well right now, what is a great bit of advice you can give to people when they're doing the research about these different foundations to help them have a peace of mind to what they're doing?
Well, if it's a real organization, they should be as transparent as they can be. All right, and meaning everything should be open for research. If you're BBB accredited, that automatically is a great sign that you're dealing with a good organization. There's also a website, and it's called GuideStar, GUIDE Star. And if you go to GuideStar, you can see if an organization is on there. And if the organization's on there, then their 501c3 proclamation should be there. Their tax returns should be there. Yeah, even though you're a tax exempt, you still have to put your tax returns up there. And so there are that's a good one, GuideStar. And so we're on both of those. So you can look that up and everything. But I will say that it's 87 cents of every dollar goes to the bottom line for us.
That's amazing.
87 cents. Yeah.
That's something, even just saying that out loud shows legitimacy, because every day you find people that are like, oh, portions of proceeds, or they start giving percentages.
Well, no, they're not. You can't function that way.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And then, for all the people who might even just chomping at the bit to say something, every organization has costs, which is why 100% of everything can't go, because an organization has costs that they need to operate. But on the bottom line of everything for organizations like Snowdrop and what Kevin's doing here, it's blood, sweat, and tears.
Well, the old adage in business is you have to spend money to make money. Let me tell you something. When we hired 2 part-time employees with Snowdrop, we exponentially grew 6 times the rate we were previously growing. So do the math. If whatever we're paying them, we're getting 6 times in return.
That's
currently
hell of an ROI right there.
I am currently looking for a job, Kevin. I'm not sure if you're aware.
Hey, Cookie, I didn't tell you what we're paying them. I just said it was 6 times more they were bringing in.
I work in a warehouse during the day. Yeah.
So that's another thing. I mean, obviously people can go to the website, but how can people get involved with Snowdrop?
Yeah, the easiest way is go through the website. We have all of our events listed. You know, the majority of our events still happen in Texas. We're going to have a couple happening in St. Louis here not too long down the road, but for the most part, everything happens in Houston. Our biggest need is for volunteers during our big run at the end of the year, the Ultra 55-hour race and relay, which is already sold out for the 12th consecutive year. 250 solo runners and 15 relay teams of 10 individuals. So yeah, and you know, it's just basically it's a party, but a party with a purpose. You know, and people just run for as much as they want. You know, all you got to do is run one lap, and you're considered a finisher. And we have people that go out there and they'll run 5 miles, and they'll be done, and they'll be like, I just want to party, I just want to hang out. You know,
Cookie, I think we can do a lap.
I don't.
Come on, man.
It's a 1 kilometer loop, so 0.62 miles, 0.67 miles.
We can do that. We can do that.
Look at him.
I'll tell you what, as soon as I'm no longer working with the Capitals, because we always have a game on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
See, this is okay. See how that worked? He found a loophole already.
Why do you think I needed to know the dates first?
I see. Yeah.
Let's also schedule one for the Super Bowl Sunday weekend. We always have games then as well. But
jeez.
But it's the Snowdrop Foundation. This is something that Kevin has started with his wife to really take on the needs of fundraising awareness for pediatric cancer. The movie is called Delivering Hope, where he ran an absolutely insane trek through Alaska to the North frickin' Pole. Not to North Pole, Alaska, but the actual North goddamn pole.
Yeah, we were north of the North Pole, North Pole, Alaska.
And the film is amazing. September 1st is when we can look forward to it. I can't, like I said in the beginning, this is something, as soon as Cookie and I put this together, it's a day we've been looking forward to talking about this. And then, of course, the irony of how all of our roads have intersected is just enough. And I'm about to text Nicole about that.
And some local news related to this. One that Trish just messaged out to all of us earlier in the week. There's going to be a screening of Delivering Hope at Drury University later in the fall. I don't know if she's gotten that date finalized yet.
No, she'll get it solidified sometime this coming week.
Yeah. So that's really cool. She went.
Maybe John could come in for that.
Went straight to the man in charge. The president of the university said, "Hey, you want to do this?" So
she did, man. She went right to Dr.
She went right to the head of the snake.
Yeah,
and
that's pretty great. She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you're not the head."
Yeah, don't go through marketing or any of that. Just went straight to the president. Yeah. I'm an alum, damn it. You're going to listen.
Yeah.
But then September 26th, the other DU Panthers, the Davenport Panthers, will be in town to play the Drury Panthers in some on-ice hockey activities. And there will be a special night of Snowdrop Foundation that night as well. There's going to be a handful. We're not wearing the jerseys during the game, but there are going to be a handful of jerseys that'll be available for auction. Proceeds going right back to those amazing people at Snowdrop.
Actually, I'm calling the custom jerseys the 4C, the 4C jersey, the Cliff Cook custom.
I
had it.
I'll send John. We'll put up the mock-up of the jersey on here. It was so funny. I mean, funny seems like a really wrong word through a lot of this conversation, but you got to have some humor. But you know, we did the kind of once we decided we weren't going to have the whole team wearing them during the game, we did just the kind of one version with the number 16, of course, the symbolism of the number 16 for Chelsey.
The age she passed away. And then, because the original mock-up that I always do just so everything's on there had the Captain C on it. I was like, oh, I got to put something else there. And then I was like, what the hell am I talking about? It's a C. Of course I got to leave the C on there. It's their freaking initial.
For everybody.
It's their initial.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell am I thinking right now? So, no, it's
What day is that one for the game? The 26th, you said?
26th.
Yeah, 25th, 26th. I think the auction stuff's happening on the Saturday game, if I remember. We're still finalizing all that, but yeah, it's going to be fun. There'll be some other items as well and a lot going on. yellow ribbons being handed out, and we just I don't want to get too deep into it, but we literally just, well, Jeremy, and he shared it with us, just received an email.
My God, dude, I was crying when I read that.
You ain't the only one.
Yeah.
Just received an email. Was it yesterday? I think it was.
Yesterday, yeah.
About a young hockey player here in town who loves coming to our games, who just 2 weeks ago was diagnosed. And so
He's in Memphis right now, getting treated, St. Jude.
Yeah. So we're going to have, hopefully he's back in town in time and feeling well enough for it. But if he's not, we're still going to have his two best friends come out and be a part of our team that night. And yeah, celebrate him. So
If not, you got to have that kid out to drop a puck when he is back.
Absolutely.
Oh, there's no question.
Oh, for sure.
No question. Yeah, but
sure.
Again, even if he's not available to that night, we're definitely going to have his two buddies that he goes to the games with, fill in for him.
Yeah,
So.
totally.
That's awesome.
So
That's awesome to be there. The situation sucks.
Configuration was the word I was trying to think of, the fourth C.
Oh,
so the
yeah.
custom Cliff Cook configuration.
Well, John knows I love designing jerseys. This one was absolutely a labor of love. So,
Dude, it's a
He
beautiful
designed,
jersey.
he designed the jersey for the team I went to in Wisconsin before I got moved. He actually designed that one.
Did he design the Black Screaming Eagle jersey?
no, I
You
would
know
never
what?
design something that hideous.
I just don't understand. Like,
I don't
Ugliest
either.
freaking jersey ever.
it's such a hot take on
No,
that jersey.
It's not. I don't understand why anybody likes that jersey. It's awful.
I just like that. I love how that's how we started our very first episode too. And
It is.
this is the recurring thing.
100%. Episode 1 was me bitching about that damn jersey.
It's ridiculous, man. It's
It
ridiculous.
is. The jersey is ridiculous. You're right. Thank you. You finally agreed with me.
Your take is ridiculous.
Nah,
I
bullshit.
don't want to talk about it anymore.
John, hearkening back to the time that we met, enough about me. So what's it like being in the locker room with the...
Well, Kleiner, I can tell.
Napkin towels.
But Kleiner, we got to get you that Screaming Eagle jersey now, man. And
Damn straight, brother. I'll wear
we'll
it
have you
proudly.
wear it at a game.
Must be the.
Oh, yeah.
This is how we're ending this podcast right now.
I'll come out.
Bullshit.
I'll come out. I'll shoot the game, and
Yeah.
then we'll get a picture. Kleiner, we'll have Kleiner drop the puck wearing the jersey.
He's
And
too busy announcing. He can't go on the ice and show that jersey off. He's too busy.
And then Cookie will be in the background like this.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I won't.
For
Well,
sure.
I'm like that anyways when he's talking about.
Yeah,
Like
man.
that, we're gonna wrap
That's my
this up.
normal stance, so that won't change.
Not
That's too
lately.
funny.
Not lately, John. I gotta commend you, man. That you've given Cookie a new life with this podcast. You know, I mean, he's completely underappreciated for what he does for the hockey program, but and it weighs on him, and I know it does. But I've never seen the guy happier in the 2.5 years that I've known him since you
This
guys
is-
started doing this.
And the fact that John's involved with that is ironic.
That's you know what though? That's kind of one of the things me and Cookie bonded over the years. Like we're in New Mexico, we were paid absolute dog shit.
Mexico is a
And, like,
horrible situation.
We were, but you know, it's like
A
it's like
beautiful
going to
place,
war.
a place we loved, but just the situation was.
Yeah, it's kind of like we're like war buddies for that, and
Yeah.
like you know, and then like when we went to our new teams, like Cookie dropped me off. I didn't have a car, and so Cookie dropped me off in Wisconsin on his way up to Marquette, and so it's just one of those things where like we were paid like crap, and we were so quiet about it. Like we were so worried about pissing off the owner, but like honestly, I don't even care about that anymore because like he took advantage of a situation because he knew that we were basically hired for another team. And they brought somebody in last minute. So he's like, oh, well, he goes, I can get these guys for pennies on the dollar now. And then just he expected so much out of us for like struggling to survive. And he was like, we can't help with this. We can't do this and that. But he loved to brag about all the money he always had. He's one of those guys. He actually ended up owning a team right out there in Springfield.
Yeah, he moved.
The old owner of the Express.
He moved the team we had in New Mexico to here. And that's what Jeremy coached before. That's you.
Yeah. So
And
suddenly,
he paid Jeremy a lot of money.
suddenly he had the money.
Didn't pay.
But
I shouldn't say a lot of money. That's not fair to Jeremy. But compared to what we were getting, 100%.
Yeah. So it was just one of those things where it was just real hard. But, you know, me and Cookie have just kept in touch over the years. And like I left coaching because I couldn't afford to do it anymore and just getting back into it. And then the photography thing randomly happened. And I remember Cookie was coaching that Dallas Blackhawks AAA team and they had a game up in Connecticut or a tournament. The tournament was up there, whatever it was. And I was like, oh, I'll come photograph it. And it was like, you know, I hadn't seen Cookie in a while and stuff like that. And I think Cookie realized like, oh, he's actually really doing this. Like,
Yeah, it's weird because I was a photographer for years, and John had probably never held a camera in his life. And next thing I know, I no longer own any equipment, and John's doing it at a higher level than I ever did.
Which is the funny thing is, I did go to one of Cliff's photo shoots at a radio station once, and they yelled at me because I was on the phone and I was being too loud.
Kid Craddock.
Kid Craddock, huh?
It was Kid Craddock in the morning because a woman I was doing a different photo shoot with, who had a dog rescue thing, was being interviewed, and I had to go shoot her being interviewed, and John showed up and nearly got us all thrown out.
Dude, legendary personality.
He's answering phones in the studio while they're on air.
So loud too. I wasn't even trying to be. I'm like, there's soundproof rooms.
Yeah. They're all just looking around, kidding. All of them are like, who's this guy?
One of the guys comes out. He goes, it's funny too because I think he wanted to be nice, but he couldn't do it. He's like, hey, listen, I don't know if you know. He goes, but you're talking pretty loud. He goes, and everybody's on the air. I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, guaranteed he didn't want to do that.
No, I came back into the room where Cookie was doing his shoot with her because I was helping carry all the lights and stuff in. I didn't know any of this stuff. And I just go in there and I just put my phone down and sat down like I was just a child that got in trouble. But that's always kind of funny. But yeah, it's crazy the way the world's turned out. And if it wasn't for me doing photography and all this other stuff, I never would have been at the film festival in turn. But it's kind of like we've all said, like if you want to do something, do it and dive into it and take the risk. And, you know, I took risks. I was in bands when I was younger. I took risks as an athlete when I was younger, thinking just like Kevin, just like Cookie, we all thought we were going to be big time stars in sports.
I still
and then, yeah, no, Cookie's still killing it. The Danbury Thrashers are about to call you up.
Yeah.
And then, you know, just to all these different roads that now just somehow just had all of our roads intersect is just, it's one of the funniest things to me. Cause I'll never forget when I saw that poster, that picture with all you guys, I was like, what the hell? I was so confused. It took me a minute to process that, that was the case. You know, Kevin, the stuff you've done with your documentary and your foundation are talked about with me and Cliff alone constantly. It's amazing what you're doing. And honestly, I hope you get so busy with it. You're basically full-time unretired and
we still need him at the hockey games and for the coaches show. So let's, you know.
Well, that doesn't affect me though.
I don't want to have to find someone else because no one else can do it like Kevin can.
That is true. The Kline voice is great for those. I hear it all the time. I watch the games online.
Yeah.
And I forgot you were doing it, and then I heard you announce it.
Yeah,
that's right.
It always cracks me up in pregame intros when Steve, you know, goes to you and you're doing your Kevin Kline announcing, and Steve's just like, "Oh my God, I got to turn the volume down. It's so loud."
Oh, is it really? Well,
you get into it.
It ain't gonna get any softer.
No,
okay, it's not too loud for you. It's just his setup. Blame him, man. You're doing great, Kleiner. Keep it going.
Appreciate that. Thank you. But thanks for coming to talk to us. I know you see Cliff all the time, and you always interact back and forth. I was getting ready to say not enough, and you know, John, I hope sometime you can come down to Springfield and you know, we do a shoot with Cookie, and you know,
we'll be here this weekend. Just FYI.
Yeah, I was supposed to be, but you know,
life happens, man. You know, life happens.
Money's hard to come by these days for these trips.
That's not the message I got from Adam. It wasn't life happens. Do you want to know what Adam said about you, John?
I can only imagine.
Oh. Somebody's going under a bus.
Adam's the MS guy we had here that we had on our show. That my good friend with MS. Adam's awesome. Actually, if Adam stops in Springfield, it'd be great if you got to meet him too.
I'm meeting up with him. I think probably Wednesday. But he said, "You want to meet up while I'm in Branson since John's a bitch."
That's actually a lot less than what I thought it was going to say.
Yeah, I think we're going to meet up on Wednesday because I've got things the rest of the week. So
yeah, hockey season's kicking in for Cookie, and then
for you,
hockey season starts for me in a few weeks, and then Kleiner's. I got about a month before it starts with me. That's what I was asking about the day about the thing you're doing it because we have a preseason game on the 25th, which I would be able to do the next day, but our preseason game's in Hershey because our arena is still getting worked on. But yeah, otherwise everything else. That's the good thing about this year. There's no 50th anniversary. There's no records left for Ovi. Yeah, it's still gonna be very exciting. I love what I do. But yeah, so it just leaves more time to make these kind of trips. I'm looking forward to it. So I'll have to come over, take over for Casson one day, and then you'll have me and Kleiner, just the voices of the day. You will rue the day.
I would give anything.
Can you imagine me commentating a game? It's like, I don't know what he was thinking on that pass.
You would need the censorship button next to you.
No, I'd be able to
real
not swear.
though, you know. It was so real to
I'd be
hear
able
it.
to not swear, but my opinions are being spoken.
No, you would swear.
Yeah, that's true. I'd say I would not swear. You guys would come out on the ice, you'd lose the face off. I was like, well, clearly Cookie didn't fucking work on that this summer.
It's a streaming service. You're not governed by the FCC. Talk real.
That's right. This is Drury hockey, the real side.
Yeah, jury wouldn't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah,
No, not
everything
at
will be fine.
all.
All three of us will have to start podcasting full time.
When the nicest building on campus is the chapel.
It really is. You're right. Yeah.
It really is.
I like St. Lawrence, man. The St. Lawrence chapel is gorgeous, and everything else is just like a square brick house.
Exactly. Pretty much.
So,
All right.
Klein, thanks so much for coming
Kleiner.
out.
And thank you guys so much.
Everybody who check this out, be sure to like and subscribe. Cookie wave.
Like and subscribe. Bye.
Thanks, you guys.